Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to the library tour from Halvora. We are on bookcase number 2, we are on shelf number 4, and we are on subsection B, I believe. So we're just going to keep pressing along here. Mass market paperbacks as far as the eye can see. So that's what we're going to be dealing with. Okay, we have Thongor and the Dragon City by Lynn Carter. Terrific old cover there. I don't quite know what's going on there. As once again, you can see the mass market paperbacks are falling apart. Thongor exists in ebooks. Not with these great covers, but they do exist in imperishable forms. Then Thongor and the Wizard of Lemuria. This is in much better shape. Another fantastic cover. Again, you don't know what's going on there. These are thin little fantasy novels by Lynn Carter that are quite enjoyable. Then we have Thongor Against the Gods. And this one is in fairly untouched shape, but you can tell right away from the text block and the sprayed edges there that this is not going to survive a read. I will be as gentle as I can with it, but with the last Thongor that I read, I think it was last Garb-August or the Garb-August before that, did indeed fall apart on me. I don't remember if it was a duplicate of one of these, but I had to just finish it. I didn't even get to the end. I had to finish it with an ebook. And then Thongor and the Pirates of Takaris by Lynn Carter. So a bunch of Thongor. This is not all of Thongor. I think there's 2 more that I don't have or that haven't come up yet. We'll see. Then we have Clifford C. Mack. Again, this is another mass market paperback. This is Choice of Gods. So this ideally ought to be with the 2, I think we've seen 2 or 3 Clifford C. Macks so far. This should be with them, but it's not. But while I've been doing this library tour, especially this bookcase, I have become aware of the fact that the bottom shelf, shelf number 1, subsection A, B, C, and D, were all mystery novels and historical fiction. And I think a substantial part of shelf number 2 was also. And that automatically makes me wonder, since bookcase number 3 has lots of science fiction and fantasy on it in hardcovers, maybe I shouldn't pull all these things off and rearrange them so that the science fiction and fantasy has one whole bookcase to itself. We will see. We'll see how that goes. Then we have John Jakes. This is Brack the Barbarian. These are fantastic. John Jakes, of course, famous for the Bastard series, which is behind me in a box set there on the desk. Then we have Robert Jordan. Needs no introduction on BookTube. This is a mass market paperback of The Eye of the World, heavily reinforced. This is the paperback that has the step back there with completely different Garrel K. Sweet artwork. So you get a little glimpse of our cast, and then you get another little glimpse of our cast in a strange city there. I had to reinforce this thing. I also fell out of it here. I also got the reissued hardcover that the publisher brought out when the first season of the TV show aired. They reprinted the hardcover with the original cover, so I grabbed that. And of course I have it as an ebook, but I wanted to have it as a mass market as well. And then I have, I should do these in order. We have The Great Hunt, which is book number 2 in the Wheel of Time series, with a map. First one did not have the requisite map. This one does. It's the west coast of Europe. It's always the west coast of Europe. And then finally, The Dragon Reborn. And I believe that those are the only Robert Jordan paperbacks that I have. I have The Eye of the World in hardcover. If the publisher had brought out The Great Hunt with its original Garrel K. Sweet dust jacket, I missed it. If they reissued that in bookstores, I missed it. Let alone the Dragon Reborn. I would take all 3 of those in hardcovers with the original artwork if I could get them. But I believe that's all the Robert Jordan that I have, aside from other stuff that he wrote that isn't Wheel of Time. Okay, then we have The Relic by Preston and Child. This is a novel largely set in the American Museum of Natural History and about a creature, a weird creature that turns out to have a feral kind of animal intelligence and a whole bunch of lethal adaptations at its disposal, very much like the novel Killer that we saw. Only this is set in the present day for its time, 30 years ago. This is a quintessential thriller, airporty page turner. And boy, oh boy, I absolutely love it. Just love it. I have a tedious story that is connected with this book. I've told it before on this channel. Friends of mine have told me that that I have mostly new viewers, that every channel has mostly new viewers, that you don't have to worry about repeating your favorite stories. And I might as well. I might as well. It doesn't take long. I packed this thing. I was absolutely hooked in the first chapter. I bought it in an airport. And I grabbed it, and I started reading it while I was waiting for a plane, back when I flew in commercial planes. And I had an actual book. This was before the internet. This was before e-readers. I had an actual book, a serious historical work that was my book. It was the book that I was bringing. I was going from a book-rich environment, and I was touching down in a couple of hours in another book-rich environment. So I didn't feel like loading myself with books. So I had a book, but it was starting to be a little slow going, and it was a little tedious. And I grabbed this thing, and this is amazingly hooks you right from the beginning. Just cheap thrill after cheap thrill after cheap thrill. So I was reading it, and then my flight got called, and I went on board, and I was reading it some more, and we were flying. I don't know what possessed me. I would never fly again. But we were at one point 35,000 feet in the air, where humans are not meant to be, and we encountered turbulence. Really bad turbulence. I mean, not a little bit wobbly, but people bouncing up and down in their chairs, flying into the air to the full extent of their seatbelts, and then slamming back down. Luggage flying all over the place. And the crew, very much concerned. They put on a very good poker face. They don't want to alarm the passengers, but they were very much concerned. This was not normal turbulence at all. To the point where I could see on the faces of the people around me that they were just an inch away from mentioning that they thought they were going to die. And of course, I thought I was going to die too. It's only when you hit turbulence like that you realize that you're in a tin tube that was constructed by the lowest bidder, employing a crew of people who day drink. It's only when you hit that kind of turbulence that you realize that. And in that moment, I learned something about myself. Because when I thought there's a legitimate chance that we will die, I put this book in my bag and took out the serious book that I brought with me. Because I thought, if I'm going to be found in a field somewhere, I want this to be the book people think I was reading. I put this away so that no one would know that I was enjoying it. But it's been a while since I reread Relic. I really should. Okay, then we have more epic fantasy. This is Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, the mass market paperback. I had the trade paperbacks of the first three of these have this great cover artwork, and then for some unknown reason, the publisher decided to get rid of cover artwork on these instead of pulling out all the stops. Instead of giving them beautiful covers for every subsequent volume, instead you got great covers for the first three, and then not. Very much not. And I had trade paperbacks, beautiful trade paperbacks, when they were in the stores of the first three, and got rid of them. I don't remember how I got rid of them or why. I probably sent them to somebody or gave them to somebody. Maybe a guest came over and said, "Ooh, I love epic fantasy. I've never seen these before." I probably just said, "Take them. I've got books everywhere here. Take what you want." After a while, I decided that in addition to the ebooks, I wanted these in paperback. And I never see the trade paperbacks anymore used out in the wild. Never. I guess maybe I could buy them used, but what's the fun in that? And also, eBay vendors lie. So I thought the Brattle will provide. Sooner or later, I will see these things. And I found Game of Thrones. I reinforced it so that it could take a read. And I found Storm of Swords. Also in these old mass market paperbacks, but never the third one. And no others. I don't have any other George R.R. Martin. I don't want any other George R.R. Martin. The metal embossment on a field of marble for Dance with Dragons was pretty nice. That was pretty nice. That was on the hardcover. I don't know if that was ever on a mass market paperback. It was pretty nice. I might consider that if I saw it, but I have had that from time to time. But it's these three that I want. Okay, then these two things I found, I believe, up in Vermont. Is that right? Did I find you up in Vermont? And they're tantalizing. These are by Susan Matthews. There's The Devil and the Deep Space and Angel of Destruction. These are 2 books in a trilogy that is really, really good. Okay, are you even going to tell me? You're not going to identify yourself at all, are you? No, you're not going to identify yourself at all. You're not going to tell me what this series is, what the name of it is, or anything like that. Maybe it's not a series. Maybe it's just set in a universe. I had 3 of these. I read 3 of these in quick succession 30 years ago and loved them. They're really good science fiction. And then got rid of them. And the titles are cliches. And there is no handy series title that I know of or that I can spot on these books. And the author's name is kind of bland. So the whole thing went right out of my mind. I thought, oh, what was that? I really liked that. I'd love to find them again. I did. I found 2 of these. I think it was up in Vermont. And this creates a lifelong agony because I don't have the 3rd one. I don't have any idea what the 3rd one is. These books don't say. And it won't matter if I look it up on Wikipedia because I'm never going to remember it. I guarantee you that the cover design and the author and the title are all equally bland to these 2. So I've condemned myself so that every time I see these books in any way, even if it's these 2, I'm going to just keep rebuying them, and with the luck of finding the 3rd one. It's a long story, but it's also the story that you have, so no judgment. Okay. Then we have more epic fantasy. This is The Sword of Shannara in a mass market paperback, Terry Brooks. With the mass market paperback has the illustrations that were part of this. Oh God. Well, they are in here, but this thing is falling apart, as you can see. I was a little bit doubtful whether or not it would survive a read, and then I was spared even finding out because the Brattle served up a trade paperback of Sword of Shannara, and I thought, great, fantastic, but the trade paperback is even flimsier than this thing. And then I found the hardcover. So I have a mass market paperback. I might try to read it. I might. But I have a mass market paperback. I have the hardcover, and of course I have the ebook. So I'm all set. And then Elfstones of Shannara. Just another one. I don't have any of the others. I used to have, is it Death Song of Shannara? I used to have that as well. I think I had that as a trade paperback. But I don't have, this is the 2nd book. I don't have any of the others. I would like to have the ones that have Dower K. Sweet covers. The one, at least the first 3. I think it was Sword of Shannara, Elfstones of Shannara, and then Death Song of Shannara, something like that. And I don't have that 3rd one in any format except an ebook. Okay, and then we can finish up Subsection B here with science fiction, a series that I've recommended many, many times. I cannot recommend this strongly enough, especially to Dude Bros. Dude Bros, the ones who listen to this channel think, well, you must hate, you rail against Dude Bros and Dude Bro Lit, so you must hate all Dude Bros and all Dude Bro Lit. No, in fact, I don't hate any Dude Bros because I take them seriously, and no one else in their life does. They're surrounded either by oblivious people, oblivious men, including, unfortunately, very often their fathers, and grifters. Online grifters who only want their money and don't care about them at all. I care about them, and Dude Bro Lit when it's done well. How could I love John Carter Mars and hate Dude Bro Lit? When it's done well, I really like it. Anyway, that's an odd introduction to it. This is Dies the Fire by S.M. Sterling, which I have recommended many times before on this channel. A novel that takes place at the dawn of the internet age. So there really isn't any smart technology. There really isn't any internet or anything like that when this begins. But it does begin in the modern world. Airliners, cars, ovens, gunfire, of course, all that sort of thing. When at the beginning of the book, after we've met a few of our main characters, but not all of them, there's a change that comes over the world. It happens in a flash. The flash is intensely painful, but it's over. It's over so fast that people don't almost register the pain. And when that flash is over, no technology works. Planes fall out of the sky with everybody on board. Cars stop working. Lights stop working. All technology stops working. Even gunpowder stops working, which leads a couple of characters in this book to speculate that this can't be natural. Because if it were natural and you put gunpowder on a rock and struck it with another rock, you would get a gunpowder reaction. That doesn't happen. Something's mucked with physics. to make sure that everything is stuck in early medieval Europe levels of technology. And our characters are just caught completely unaware. First of all, they have to survive the first few days. Then they have to figure out what they're going to do in this new world. How are you going to survive long term? And I know there are a lot of books that have that kind of premise, but this is so good. And oh my God, is it so addictive. It goes on and on. The characters learn a little bit more, but they're mostly concerned with living, with surviving. They don't really have the tools to examine what has happened to their world. They can speculate. Some of them do speculate. But they're mostly just concerned with getting through the day, getting through the week, setting up a sustainable community, figuring out where are the places to stay away from. The books make it pretty clear pretty early on that big cities are to be avoided at all costs. They became death zones. Most of this takes place in the Willamette Valley. It takes place in the Pacific Northwest, so an area where the houses are far apart from each other, or relatively far apart from each other. A lot of the people are accustomed to living without, the support of a system or a grid of any kind. Sterling I think he sets it there to give his core cast of characters at least a tiny bit more of a chance of initial survival, a tiny bit more of a chance of being able to put together enough food to live through the winter, because the seasons still happen. I love the series, absolutely love it. So I grabbed a second copy of Dies the Fire. I'll take this in any form that I can get it. I've never seen it in hardcover. Don't know that it was ever issued in hardcover. And then at one point I had all of these books in mass market paperbacks or trade paperbacks or hardcovers. The series actually went on. I don't think it's going on anymore, but it actually went on long enough so that I got some of these things as books in the mail. I think I've hauled some of them on this channel. But I think this is the fourth book in the series, A Meeting at Corvallis is the only other one that I have in paperback. Because in Dies the Fire, we get our main cast of characters. At least the initial main cast of characters. There's a folk singer. Doesn't seem like a likely candidate to survive, but she has what it takes. She has what it takes. There's an ex-Army Ranger who definitely has survival skills, and he is not a guy to cross. He's a good guy, and he's trying to help people from right away. As soon as he survives, he's actually in midair in a plane when this happens. He still manages to survive. He's in a private plane, not a commercial airliner. He can effect his own survival. And there's also a villain. The villains are the dumbest part. This is such a geeky series. The villain was part of the Society for Creative Anachronisms, which you'll have to Google, but it essentially means he knows his way around chainmail and broadswords, and that gives him an edge. It wouldn't at all. But he himself is big and imposing and is thoroughly evil. The characters in the book even comment on how comical this is. He adopts as his official banner in his camp, and then his fort, and then his castle, the lidless eye of Sauron. And the characters in the book comment on how comical it is that he's announcing to everyone that he's evil. And you know pretty much from the halfway point of Dies the Fire, pretty much from the halfway point of the first book, you know that no matter what else happens in these novels, the Army Ranger and that bad guy are going to have to fight. Not their forces. They themselves are going to have to fight in hand-to-hand armed combat. And they do in Meeting at Corvallis. So that was the one that I wanted in mass market, but otherwise I don't think I have any of them. I doubt we'll encounter any of them again. But we have a long way to go, so I could be wrong about that. So that is subsection B, I believe, of shelf number 4 of bookcase number 2. And I'm going to leave myself a little leeway here. I'm going to stack some of these things on the floor rather than put them back on the shelf, because I think I want to reorganize this shelf. And that's going to mean we're going to get through this whole wall in order for me to do that. Because there aren't mass market paperbacks anywhere else, except behind me. As a number of you have pointed out. There's a whole bookcase of mass market paperbacks behind me. They're all romances. But aside from that, there's no others. So I think when I'm done with these bookcases, I may give the library tour a rest for a day or two and reorganize, and then move on. That's one of the glories of a library tour. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up for now, and we will reconvene next time. Thank you, BookTube.